Hi friends, today I will discuss the chapter matter in our surrounding. So this is chapter 1. This is chapter 1 of class 9. Class 9 chemistry. The basic concept of this chapter is that the basic concept I will tell you, and also I will read the chapter whenever it is necessary. So as you can see in the textbook, as we look at our surrounding, we see a large variety of things with different shapes, sizes and textures. Everything in this universe is made up of material which scientists have named matter. That is the air we breathe, the food we eat, stones, clouds, stars, plants and animals, and even a small drop of water or particle of sand. Each thing is matter. So all the above things, all these things occupies space. All these things occupy space, and also as they occupy space means what? They have volume and also they have mass. So earlier Indian philosophers classified matter in the form of 5 basic elements, that is air, earth, fire, sky, water. Earlier Indian philosophers classified matter into these things. Now in modern days, scientists have classified matters based on its physical and chemical property. So the question is, whether matter is continuous, whether matter is continuous or particle. Before discussing this, let me tell you the physical nature of matter. The physical nature of matter. There are one physical nature of matter. Physical nature of matter is made up of particles. So there is one experiment you can see. The experiment is that take a 100 ml beaker. Take a 100 ml beaker. This is the 100 ml beaker. I am showing by writing. Take a 100 ml beaker activity. Take a 100 ml beaker. This is 100 ml beaker. Fill the beaker with water. Fill the beaker with water. Fill the half portion of the beaker with water. And mark the level of water. This is the level of water. Suppose this is X centimeter. This is the level of water. Then dissolve some salt. Dissolve some salt in it. This is water. This is water. Dissolve some salt or sugar in it. Salt or sugar in it. And stir and then what you need to do is that stir it properly. Stir it properly. Then observe, then answer 3 questions. First of all, is there any change in water level? 2, what do you think has happened to salt? What do you think has happened to salt? What do you think has happened to salt? Where does it disappear? Does the level of water change? So this is again the experiment. What you need to do is that take a beaker of 100 ml, fill the half portion of this ml with water and mark the level of water. Then pour some salt or sugar in the beaker and stir the water properly. Stir the mixture of water and salt properly. What do you observe? What do you observe? We observe that salt is dissolved in water. Salt is dissolved in water. Particle of salt filled in the gaps between the particles of water. Particles of salt. Particles of salt. Particles of salt filled in the space between the particles of water. There is no change in the water level. There is no change in water level. So first question is that observe any change in water level? No. We have not observed any change in the water level because the particles of salt and the particles of water mixed with each other, and the particles of salt occupies the space between the particles of water. Salt is dissolved in the water. Where does it disappear? It has dissolved in the water. It has occupied the space around the particles of water. Does the level of water change? No. So this is the experiment. That means that by this experiment we saw that the particles of the matter is made up of particles. By this experiment we had seen that the matter is made up of particles. So this is the physical nature of matter. Matter is made up of particles. Matter is made up of particles. And matter occupied the space between the particles, and it also has volume and it also has mass. This we have observed. Now the next question is that how small are these particles of matter? Then there is another experiment. Take 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate and dissolve them in 100 ml of beaker. 100 ml of beaker, dissolve 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate. Okay, potassium permanganate, dissolve. Then take out 10 ml of this mixture. Again pour this 10 ml of this mixture to another clear water. Then again take out 10 ml of this mixture. Then again pour this 10 ml of this mixture to another clear water. Then again take out 10 ml of this mixture. So the question is that, is the water still colored? Answer is yes. Because matter is made up of very small particles which is spread in the water, so it is difficult to segregate the particles of potassium permanganate that had occupied the space in between the particles of water. So it is still colored. The experiment shows that just a few crystals of potassium permanganate can color a large volume of water. So we conclude that there must be millions of tiny particles in just one crystal of potassium permanganate, which keeps on dividing themselves into smaller and smaller particles. Ultimately, a stage is reached when these particles cannot divide further into the smaller particles. The same activity can be done using Adda. The particles of matter are very small. They are small beyond our imagination. Very, very small. And after a certain threshold limit, they stop dividing themselves. Now the characteristic of particles of matter. Characteristic is that particles of matter have space between them. First characteristic. Second characteristic is that, let me find the second characteristic. Second characteristic is that particle of matter is continuously moving. They have space between them. They are continuously moving. And the third characteristic is that particle of matter attract each other. These are the characteristic of matter. First of all, we have studied that matter is made up of particles, small particles, which occupy space and that have volume as well as mass. And also we have saw that particles of matter are very, very small, which are beyond our imagination. That is why it is difficult to separate potassium permanganate from water. Now the characteristic of matter of particle is that there are three characteristics. Particle of matter have space between them. They are continuously moving. They attract each other. So there are a lot of activities. Let me explain one of the activity. Like, put an incense stick in a corner of your classroom. Now observe how close do you have to go near it so as to get its smell. Now light the incense stick. What happens? Do you get the smells sitting at a distance? Record your observation. So one has to go very close to get the smell of the incense stick. Unlighted incense stick. After lighting the incense stick, smoke started to coming out of it. After lighting the incense stick, smoke started to coming out of it. Do you get the smell sitting at a distance? Obviously, yes. We can get the smell of incense stick sitting at a distance. This shows that matter consists of small particles. Matter consists of small particles. Matter consists of small particles which are moving continuously in different directions. like one is moving in upward direction, one is moving in this 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 direction. So the particles of Ncert stick will move in any direction, in any direction, in any direction, in any direction it will move. This means that particles of matter possess kinetic energy. That means what? If I am participating in a game, running game, then if I run, I will possess kinetic energy. You know that any object which is moving, any object like car which is moving possesses kinetic energy. What is kinetic energy? You know that half mv square, mass and velocity. This is product of mass and velocity. This is kinetic energy. Anything, any particle, any matter, any object which is moving possesses kinetic energy. So the particle of the Ncert stick, as it is moving, will also possess kinetic energy. The smell of lighted Ncert stick diffuses with air present in air and reaches to us sitting at a distance. Means what? This means the particles of this Ncert stick, the smell lighted Ncert stick, the smell of lighted Ncert stick means the particles mixes with the air particles, and we can smell it sitting at a distance. So this activity proves that particles of matter have space between them. They have space between them because these particles occupies the space between the air particles, and also they have space between them. That's why they are moving. They possess kinetic energy. In another video, I will surely explain this activity. Since this video is getting longer, I will stop here. Now I will quickly discuss particles of matter attract each other. Let me discuss one activity. Play this game in the field. Make 4 groups and form human chains as suggested. The 4 groups should hold each other from the back and lock arms like Bihu dancers. Like this, they will hold each other. Hold each other like strong arms, with strong arms. The second group should hold hands to form a human chain. The third group should form a chain by touching each other with only their fingertips. Now the fourth group of students should run around and try to break the 3 human chains one by one into as many small groups as possible. Which group is the easiest to break? Third group is the easiest to break because they are holding each other only with their fingertips. So the bonding is very loose. They will break easily. The first group, which are holding very tightly with each other, is very difficult to break. This means that there will be no bonding force present in the fourth group and could be broken easily. So particles of matter attract each other is like that only. It depends on the type of particle. Means in some particles the attraction force is in some matter. Like, take one example, like honey and the smell of incense stick. In honey is a matter, this is also a matter. In honey, the particles is closely bonded to each other, so they will flow easily, slowly and slowly. And incense stick, the smell of incense stick, as we had seen earlier, that the smell of incense stick quickly occupies the space around air, and we can smell it sitting at a distance. So that means what? They are loosely bonded. Attraction force is very weak. Means particles of matter attract each other, but it depends on the type of particle. So here are some questions. Let me discuss. Which of the following are matter? These all are matter. This is not matter. This matter. This is not a matter. All these things are matter. This is not a matter. Matter. Give reason for the following observation. The smelling of hot sizzling food reaches you several meters away, but to get cool food, because hot sizzling food, one thing I forgot to tell you that is that kinetic energy increases with the temperature. Kinetic energy, temperature is directly proportional to kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. Means if the temperature is high, then kinetic energy of the particle, means particle will run very quickly, then we will get the smell sitting at a distance. But for a cold food, there is no temperature, there is no kinetic energy in the particles of the cold food, in the smell of the cold food, so we have to go close to get the smell. So a driver is able to cut through water in a swimming pool. Which property of matter does this observation shows? It shows that there is a space between the particles of water, that's why the driver is able to cut through in the swimming pool. What are the characteristics of particle of matter? Characteristic is that particle of matter have space between them, particle of matter is continuously moving, and the particle of matter attract each other. So up to page number 3 I have explained. So today up to this. Then if you have any doubt, clear your doubt by mailing me at students@Adda 2529@gmail.com, or comment in the comment section below the video. So today up to this. Thank you for watching. Subscribe my channel and click the bell icon so that whenever I upload any video, you get the notification as early as possible. Thank you.